All right, let's talk about the circumference of a circle. What is it and how do we calculate them? It's a big word, circumference, but it's not anything particularly unusual. It's just the perimeter. And if you remember from previous work, the perimeter is just a distance around the outside of a shape, or the length around the outside. So in a circle, it would be this distance here around the outside of the shape. So before we work out the circumference, what are some of the things we need to know? Well, a circle has a center point, and from that center out to the edge, that length is called the radius. A line that runs from one side of the circle all the way across to the other side, passing through the center, is called a diameter. And hopefully that you can see from that there's a relationship between the two. The diameter is made up of two radiuses, or the plural is actually radii. So the diameter is twice as long as the radius, because it's basically made up of one radius here and another radius here. Here's our formula for the circumference of a circle. The circumference, C, equals 2 times pi times the radius. So if we know the radius, we can work out the circumference, or the distance around the outside. Here's an example. Calculate the circumference for this circle. Well, I can see that the radius is 2 centimeters. So I'm just going to substitute that into my equation. So 2 times pi times r. I replace the r with the radius value. In this case, the radius is 2. That's the distance here. Substitute that into my formula, and I can put that into my calculator. Or I can actually leave it like this if I wanted to. So 2 times pi times 2. Remember, we can multiply in any order. So 2 times 2 is 4, and that's where the 4 comes from here. Now, I could leave it like 4 pi, or in your calculator, you could do 4 times pi and get an answer of approximately 12.6 centimeters. Let's look at one more. In this case, calculate the circumference. Now, I've got a diameter of the circle. So before I can use my formula, I need to change my diameter into a radius. And you remember that a diameter is made up of 2 radii. So it's double the radius. So if my diameter is 10, if I halve that, the radius must be 5. Now I can apply that into my formula. Once again, I can do 2 times 5 is 10. I could leave it as 10 pi, or I could put that in my calculator and get a value of 31.4 meters for the circumference, or in other words, the distance around the outside of that circle.